Welcome to the Michael Muse Show. I'm here today with a great artist, new artist out, and also an entrepreneur. And I want to congratulate and thank you for coming on board today for the Michael Muse Show. I'd like to introduce to some and just introduce to many, Miss Author ARICA QUINN.
Hey, everybody. I am excited to be here on the Michael Muse show, Fire from the Pen. I love the name of the show, and just grateful and thankful that you reached out to me to be a part of this. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. What really inspired me with the title, Fire from the Pen, being authors, one thing we do, we put our life story out there. We put our aspirations, our pain, our creativity, our imagination. We put it on paper for the world to see. And so definitely, I know you have an inspirational story just from where you've been to where you are now. And definitely, we're excited today on just learning more about you, just learning about your books you've already have, and what direction you want in the future. So why don't you kind of start with the very first book you wrote? What was the process like? You decided to write it. What was the process you was going through when you first decided to go that route?
It was a long process, and it was probably a long process because of me and my disobedience or reluctance to write. It took me about 6 years to actually write my very first book, which is entitled "Just Talk to Me," for a couple of different reasons. The book's underlining theme deals with communication, and so I'm not an expert by any means. I probably failed at communication, probably just as much as most. So to write a book about dealing with a subject like that, first of all, was very challenging because Who am I to tell somebody else how to communicate when I don't have it perfect myself? The other issue with that is that, as you said, when we're writers, we put our lives out there. So you have to be very, very willing to be transparent. And sometimes that transparency takes you to places that you necessarily don't want to share or don't want people to know. But in order to get the message across, you have to be willing to do that. So I had a real struggle with writing Just Talk to Me. I've always been a writer. I've always loved to write. I think probably the moment I knew I could write was in high school, my senior year. We had to read The Great Gatsby, and we had to write a book report about it. I read the first chapter and the last chapter of the book, wrote a paper, and got an A. That's when I knew I could write. So I've always enjoyed writing poetry, essays, blog, whatever. If I can write, I am a happy camper. But again, like I said, that journey took me 6 years to get the book right. The first 3 years was me fighting the process and not wanting to do it, not wanting to put myself out there. And then the next 3 years was the actual writing process. And some people say, man, does it really take that long to write a book? It can, because you have life to contend with. My mother had some back operations during that time, dealing with my kids, being sick. And
let's go back to that. Let's go back to the first 3 years. What emotions were you going through for the first 3 years?
Just a lot of questioning myself. A lot of, do I really have something to say to people? Are people really going to want to hear what I have to say? Am I going to make an impact? Because when you do something like that, at least for me, my greatest thing was, it wasn't about making a whole lot of money with the book. It wasn't about that at all. If I got, if it went and became a bestseller off the top, great. But if it didn't, that was okay with me too. It was more of getting the message out there, and were people going to receive the message? So I had dealt with a lot of insecurity, I guess you could say, because feeling like I wasn't really worthy or what I had to say wasn't important enough. So dealing with that, that's kind of where I was at during that first 3-year process. So I had to kind of work through that and realize that, yes, what you say does have an impact. What you say does matter.
So do you have any key people that were in your life at that time? Or, you know, it don't have to be someone you personal, but it could be, of course, it could be another author or a celebrity figure or personality. I know for me, I listen to, you know, for me, when I get into my edge, I listen to Les Brown, Eric Thomas, and Jim Rohn. So for you, what did you do to get that mental mindset you needed to actually start to put that pen on paper?
The very first thing I did, and the very most important person, was God. I had to finally tell him that, yes, I am capable of doing what you have told me to do. You wouldn't have told me to do it if you didn't think I could. So that was the first key person, was finally submitting and saying, okay, here am I, send me, I'll go. And once I did that, that really broke up a whole lot of the struggle. And then he put people in my life. I have a friend. He is my actual best friend. I call him the best boyfriend I never had. We were just that close. Like, we don't argue. We don't if we disagree, we disagree in a good way and everything. But he stayed on me. Like, he literally would call me like a couple of times a month and go, so what chapter are you on? Exactly. So how long did you write today? Oh, you didn't write today? Well, then I'm not talking to you till you write at least for 15 minutes, and then you can call me back. Like, he stayed on me through the entire process. And I appreciate him for that, because I probably never would have completed it, even though it took a long time, as quickly as I did, had he not been such a support. And then, of course, my mom, my dad, my family, you know, they all kind of was like, you can do this, do it. And then the other person was my publisher.
Okay.
Awesome lady. She's here locally in Colorado, and I'm gonna give her a shout out. Her name is Denise Dixon with SeniceDixonPublishing.com. If you are looking for a publisher, Denver people, or wherever you are, she will work with anybody. But she's amazing because she sits down with you and she walks you through the process step by step. And she encourages you. As I was writing, as I was doing the things that I was doing, she was an encouragement to me to keep going, to keep pushing, to keep doing what I needed to do. So it was people like that. And then last but not least, how could I ever forget? There's a gentleman. Well, his name is Skeeter Murray.
Okay, Skeeter Murray. Shout out to the bad boy at comedy, Skeeter Murray.
That's right. He was a big encouragement to me just by watching him do what he does on a daily basis. Like, if I learned the grind from him. You know what I'm saying? I learned it by watching this cat. This cat is so amazing, and just how he just pushes the boundaries and pushes forward regardless of how many no's he gets, how many people tell him he can't do it and he can't accomplish it. And so I kind of, without him knowing, I kind of got up under his wing, you know what I'm saying? And as he
fly, baby bird, fly.
Right. As he pushed forward, I pushed forward. When I saw him leap another hurdle, I leaped another hurdle. So he was kind of like my inspirational. He was kind of like my Les Brown or my Tim Robbins.
Yeah,
that's what he was for me. And hopefully he's listening. So hear me share this.
You know what's so important about that, Erica?
I'm sorry.
You know what's so important about that? It's so important to have people in our corner, and it's so important to get that daily motivation. I think people truly have a mindset to really think that when it comes to being motivated, that you do it and you have it. But actually, motivation is just like brushing your teeth and taking a bath. You have to do it on a daily basis.
Yes, you do.
You know, because we have, for every one negative thing that impacts us, we need double that to counter it to stay positive. So definitely being able to connect with people who can give you that encouragement, motivation, and who have that drive, and you're able to see, you know what, I can do it too. I
Yeah.
can push through what I'm going through too. I know for me, when I first wrote my book, I actually initially I wanted to start writing 5 years ago, but just couldn't get myself to do it. And once I started going through the recovery phase for my kidney transplant, that's when I really saw that, you know what, there's other people who are going through what I'm going through. There's other people who have experienced pain. There's other people who are dealing with disappointment. And they need to be able to see that, you know, someone else do it, they can get through it, you know.
Right.
But definitely, big shout out to Skeeter Murray, man. I hope you're watching it, brother. And definitely, man, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, it does.
My question for you is, you talked about this publisher. You spoke very highly about this publisher. So how did you come in contact with this publisher, and what was the nucleus that got things rolling for you?
Well, the crazy part about that is I have known her for a very long time, but I didn't know she was a publisher. She was hiding that part of who she was. And it wasn't something that was known. I had no idea that she was a publisher. And I mean, when I say I know her, like, she's like a sister to me, like a positive influence in my life. Someone I can go to and talk to and things like that, and just be in ministry with and different things like that. And so, but I had no idea that she was a publisher. And what ended up happening was, as I finished writing my book, I sent it off to be edited, and I was put a blast out on Facebook that I was looking for a publisher, blah, 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 blah. She happened to be talking to my mom, and she was like, oh, I see that Erica's getting ready to publish a book. And she was like, well, tell her to give me a call. So I ended up calling her, and that's how I found out she was a publisher. And it just went from there. It just went from there. And since she published my book, she's a busy chick.
Oh, man.
Because I blast her as much as I can and let her know. Everybody that's been involved with me in each part of the process of my writing, the majority of those people are new to their particular industry or new to the industry, right. Never done this before or that before. And so one of the things that, as I explained to people, it's kind of like, I kind of had this vision, and the vision was, God showed me this train. And on this train, I had my own car. My car was huge. It had the dining area in it and the sleepers, but it was my car. And he told me, you take as many people as you want along for this ride. And so I purposed that I was going to go look for those who were first time at it and bring them along and push them in the forefront. And so that's kind of been my whole process. The gentleman, Dante Toms, with Tom's Art, who did my book cover. He'd done the inside of a book, but he had never done an actual book cover.
Oh, man. Okay.
He laid my cover out.
Yes, he did.
He laid it out because I didn't want it to be the typical man on the cover hugging a woman. You know, I didn't want it to be that typical cover because I'm not a typical person. And so,
real quick, for the person, for the people who's just getting on, if they're interested in getting your book, where can they get your book at right now?
My book is available on Amazon. It's also in Kindle format. It's on Barnes and Nobles. It's on Books A Million. You can find it on Google Books. And then if you want to get a personal autograph copy, if you will email me at ariqui books@gmail.com, that's ariqui@gmail.com, then I will make contact with you and set you up through my PayPal and everything where you can purchase the book. We'll get it ordered. I'll autograph it and send it to you. So.
Oh, that sounds great.
That's where they can get it.
Yes. So you have more than one book, exactly, right?
I have one book right now, which is the Just Talk to Me, which is a series. So there are 5 more books coming. I'm in the process of completing book number 2 to that series, which is also, it's Just Talk to Me, but the subtitle is Left Uncovered. And that's all I'm going to say.
Are you going to give us a little insight into it?
It is, I don't want to tell you which couple, but it's dealing with one of the couples from the first book. So each series is going to really delve into each couple's relationship. But you got to read the first book to understand.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's you get people tied in. So if they buy the second book, I mean, they're going to be totally left out, because in order to catch up, really understand what's going on in the second book, you have to get the first book. So everyone is watching now, you have to get the first right now. Get the first book right now. And when the second book come out, you want to be right on point, because I'm for sure it's going to be a great book to read. Yes.
And so that I'm working on. I just completed writing another book, which I am going to be getting into, hopefully the publishing phase real soon, is entitled Speak to the King in Me. And this has a whole nother, right? Yeah. Like I said, I'm on this communication journey right now. But Speak to the King in Me, it comes from, I used to, probably about 8 years ago, I used to wake up every morning and I would send out a text message to all the men in my phone, my dad, my brothers, my cousins, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and friends. And I would just send out a quote that morning. And I would always get responses back, such as, you know what, I was just getting ready to walk in here and like quit my job today and cuss out my boss, but I got your text message. Or, thanks a lot, ARICA. I just got into an argument with my girlfriend or my wife, and now I got to go home and make it right. You know, so I would always get responses. So a few months ago, God spoke to me very clearly and was like, it's time for you to put that in a book. And I was thinking, oh my God, I don't even have that phone no more. I don't know where to find those quotes from. Thank God for Facebook that saves everything. So I actually went on Facebook and went through and looked at some of the messages that I had sent to people. And that's how I was able to gather all of those quotes so that I can put them in a book. The whole purpose behind Speak to the King in Me is to help my fellow sisters out there. And I don't just mean African-American sisters. I mean us as women, period. How to speak to the king that's in those that are around us, whether it's your dad, your husband, your boyfriend, your children, because they have enough with the world telling them they're nothing. They don't need to be at home hearing that they're nothing as well.
So you starting a new woman's movement now.
I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's powerful, because when it comes to communication, I mean, that's one thing we can never have too much of, because it doesn't take much to it could take one small misunderstanding to poison a conversation.
Right.
So it's so important to communicate and really to ask questions. But man, that's powerful to have a movement where women can really just change the perception of how they view the men in their life, where, like you said, whether it's their father, their boyfriends, husbands, sons, uncles, just speak to the king and those men in their lives.
Right. And so it's a book of quotes, and the way it's 21 quotes, because I believe anything you do for 21 days becomes a habit, right? Exactly. So there's 21 quotes in the book. So a quote a day that you just begin to speak to them. You can write it down and put it up on the refrigerator or the mirror in the bathroom, however you want to send it with them in their lunch. Maybe it's a book that you grab out, you know, when y'all snuggled up on the couch and you just read the quote to him. Whatever you want to do, but you can read the quote to him, or it can be a book that you pick up and you purchase for him and you write a little note in there and give it to him to read, however you want to do it. But the whole process is to get us in the habit of speaking the positive into the lives of our men. I mean, if you call a man a punk, and you're doing it all the time, that's what he's going to act like. If you're calling him a dog, he's going to be a dog. But if you tell him that he's mighty, that he's powerful, that he's necessary, that he's a force to be reckoned with, that he's a king,
exactly, yes.
You know, if you begin to speak those things into him, he begins to transform into what you're speaking. Words are powerful.
Yes,
life and death are in the tongue. That's how powerful what we say is. And so at the end of the book, I'm going to leave some blank pages where we as women can begin to write our own quotes.
Okay.
From our own heart to those men in our lives. Again, it doesn't matter if it's I have 2 boys. So, you know, I don't always get it right and always say the right thing, but I'm learning to speak into the positive of who they are and not the negative of the things that they do. If it's your dad, if it's your friends like you, Mr. Muse,
thank you.
If it's your boyfriend, if it's whatever, but just to begin. So that's the other book, that I'm finishing up. And then I have a 3rd book that I'm starting, which is called Hear the Queen's Heart.
Oh, so you're starting a second movement now. So you're going to start with the women. Working on the women's hearts and minds and to get the perception changed and to get that positive flow going so they can have better relationships with the men in their lives. And you're going to switch it around and we're going to get into us men's minds now and help us get the proper perception we need. So hey, when it comes to the men, you can sign me up. I'm a part of that movement. I'm ready to move forward, be a conductor. Let's move forward and make some positive movements happen, because it's so important that we like communication is on point. It's so important that we change the perception that we have of the opposite sex, and it's so important that in order to have fulfilling relationships, that we really not view people as we see them, but truly see them for the greatness that they have in them and speak that into them on a regular basis, you know?
Exactly. It's just all about us learning, like you said, to speak positive and enough. We see enough of the negative when you turn on the TV, when you walk down the street. I mean, we see it enough through movies, whatever, on Facebook. I mean, we see it everywhere. And what if we can turn that around and begin to speak positive to each other as men and as women, and be that example in front of our children or our little nephews and little nieces, or children that are just around us generally, young people, teenagers, and things like that. And so I kind of, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to speak to the women, but okay, now I gotta make it even. And I can't just let it hang like that. I got to speak to the men as well. And so Hear the Queen's Heart is I'll kind of put this out there for anybody that's listening. This is the opportunity for you to be a part. And so what I'm looking for is 2 things with this particular book. I'm looking for women who are not afraid to tell their stories. Part of the book is going to be women sharing their stories. I have a section that's going to be called A Letter to My Daddy. Okay. So whether you've had a great relationship with your dad or a not so great relationship, my relationship with my dad wasn't the best at first, but now I'll kill you over that man.
That's right. You know? That's where it's supposed to be.
You know, there's going to be another section that's called Wounded but Not Destroyed. That women that have dealt with being sexually, mentally, physically abused, to share your story, because there's women out there that need to know that you can make it through these things. Exactly. Even if you didn't have a positive father in your life, you still can be a powerful woman. So that's kind of the first half of the book. The second half of the book is I'm opening it up to men. Okay. To ask. You only get one question, so you got to think about it. I want you to really think about that question. If you had one question that you could ask us as women and know for a fact that we are going to be completely 100% real with you, because I'm real with it. And so it's going to be a real response to ask that one question. And again, you can submit your question to the ARICA books at gmail.com email address, ARIQUI books@gmail.com. and you can submit it anonymously. Nobody has to know that you asked the question. I'm not going to put you on blast and say, oh, this came from so-and-so. No, I'm not going to do that. It's an opportunity for you to ask those, because I think sometimes there's questions you as men really want to ask us, but you're afraid to, because you think we're going to give you the head action or whatever. Exactly. And so this is an opportunity to do that. And so that's the second half of this book. So it's really hearing a woman's perspective for real. So
when it comes to the second part, I know you say, like I say, you're about to finish one up and you already got the plan in motion for the third one. What's your daily motivation, and what are you doing to get yourself in the mood mentally to prepare yourself to write?
Believe it or not, I work in childcare. And so
childcare, what?
Yeah, I work in childcare. I'm a lead teacher. And so my escape time is during my lunchtime is to pull out my notebook and write. So I use a lot of that free time, that my lunch period time when I'm eating my lunch and just kind of, getting away from the kids for a minute.
Exactly.
I use that time to write. Or a lot of times I keep a notebook with me because there are just different times when something will hit me and I got to write it down.
Exactly.
Or I'll keep a notebook by the bed because there's sometimes I wake up at 2:00 in the morning and I'll write. So there's no real set. I do try to make sure that I at least write at least 15 minutes every day.
Oh, great.
That kind of keeps you going.
Exactly.
So that keeps you going. I at least try to make sure that I do that. But outside of that, it's just when it hits me, I pick up a notebook and I write, or I sit at my computer and I write, that type of thing. So that's kind of how I keep myself going and keep myself motivated and things. And then people motivate me. I can see a couple get into an argument or something and I'll go, ooh, I need to write that. Or whatever. Or I can see a parent in the store with their children and they're just having a hard time getting control of them kids. And I'm like, oh yeah, we can relate to that, and I might write a little scene, for the book out of that or whatever. So
you know what's so important what you just said though, just that you took the time on your break at work to have your pen and paper ready to make sure. And I'm like I say, dealing with kids, they could be a handful of times. So and just to dedicate that time at work and being consistent with it. I think a lot of times people don't realize that if you want to be successful, if you have goals, whatever your purpose and plan and your passion is, that's so important. A lot of times people think they look at their dreams and goals and they get overwhelmed, but they don't realize it just takes taking that pen, as far as the author, just taking that pen, it just starts with the first word.
Yeah,
as long as the first word, working the first word and the second word, and guess what? You're gonna have a sentence. Soon you have a sentence, guess what? Them sentences are gonna become paragraphs.
Right.
Paragraphs are gonna become subchapters, then subchapters become chapters, then chapters become a book. And so it's just small steps, daily steps taken over time. And that's truly the thing that when you look at people who are truly are successful, they took the time to be disciplined in their art and their craft. And it's so important to work on self-development and personal development. And that is great. That it's so important, I think, for our viewers to realize that you took that time and you still take that time now. So a lot of times people think when someone's successful, well, they've made it, they're doing good, they're making money, they're living in a beautiful home, they're living their passion, their dream. A lot of times people think, oh man, they living life good now. But they fail to realize if you got there, you had to do a certain discipline to stay there.
To stay there, right.
Just like when Michael Jordan won his first championship, he said his second one was hard because he knew he had to work even harder because he was the hunted.
Right.
And so we have to have that same mentality ourselves, I know for me, with my book and just going through what I was going through with my sickness and everything, and just especially the time when I was really looking for certain people in my family to support me and just give me words of encouragement. And when it didn't come, it was so hurtful, But I had to realize, that don't get discouraged over the few.
Right.
Just know that I just knew that my plan that God had for me was much greater than me. It was bigger than me. And as long as I invest in me, and I knew as long as I do the things that others didn't want to do today, I knew tomorrow I'll have the things that others won't have. And so definitely it's so important that we push forward in every step of the way. Now, also real quick, I know that you're an entrepreneur also. So share a little bit about what you're doing also besides writing books.
I do a little graphics on the side, a little event planning on the side. And so those are kind of two of my other loves that I love to do. So that's kind of what I do on the side as well. I'm also in the process of, as an author, want to utilize that in a major way. I really want to go into speaking and just being an inspiration to people, just an inspiration, motivation to people. One of the ways that I'm trying to do that is I'm trying to develop an author symposium to start here in Colorado and then to branch out and take it all around the country. And my hope, my goal is not only to have authors from other places like Alabama and Atlanta and New York and Wyoming and Arizona to come to Colorado, to maybe a place they might not otherwise get exposure.
Exactly.
To be able to get some exposure.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is through this author symposium, what my goal is those that are out there who maybe are thinking about writing, or maybe have started but are struggling, or even those of us who are writing maybe just need a little extra push, is to set up to where the workshops take you through each specific part of the process, from the writing to the editing to the layout and design to the publishing to the marketing to the promotion. You'll go through that whole set, and then you'll get to see the finished product by being able to interact with a panel of seven different authors from all different, different genres and backgrounds that you'll be able to, as well as have a special guest speaker just to speak to us and to motivate us as writers, as authors, as, I tell people all the time, soon as you write that first line to that first book, you are now an author.
That's
so look
right.
at yourself that way. You are now an author. You don't have to be published to be an author.
And that is beautiful there because, it's
that's kind of where I'm going and what I want to do.
Yeah, it's so important. That's great that you're putting together a group of, like I said, the author symposium. So really just bring authors together and people who want to write, who are writing, to have that community because, and like you said, the fact to bring people from different places coming to your hometown of Denver, Colorado, because it's so important for all of us, no matter what we're doing, whatever we're doing. It's so important to get outside of our environment. And it's so important to get a different perspective. And of course, going to Denver, going to the Mile High City, your lungs will get a serious workout in Denver because you're Mile High. So if nothing else, you're going to get on lungs a good workout. And what a great place to speak and be a speaker. And, I can just imagine myself being in Denver, just up on stage trying to speak. And I gotta like, get my lungs together because I know I already feel like I'm back on the airplane. I'm on the ground. So definitely, that's a great thing, and that's definitely something that I can't wait to see that come to fruition, where people can truly share their stories. Because too many times people are going through things, whether it be personal, financial, family, business, and it's too many times that people, they think that they're alone. They think that they're the only ones going through what they're going through, and it's so important to realize. It's so important for people in general to realize that whatever you're going through, is somebody who's going through it, who's gone through it, and who's about to go through it.
Right.
So, we're never alone, no matter what. We're never alone, and it's so important that stay focused and realize, we all are going through something and some form of passion, and that's just so important for people to realize that as we progress and work on bettering ourselves, and we work on bettering our crafts and going after our purpose and our dreams and goals, and going through that process, making changes most of the time is painful.
Yeah, it is,
because it's easy to quit. And it's easy to want to just crawl up in a cocoon. But it's another story when you go through the pain and go from the next step to the next step. It's just like building muscles. When people want to know how you build muscles, well, the muscles you have to be torn down first so them cells can rebuild themselves to be bigger in order to get stronger. And that's the same thing we have to do with our mentality. We got to take our brain cells and we got to take our heart, and we got to take the things that we know we're made of, and we got to continue to work on it, and we got to continue to make sure we stay focused. So I have a chapter in my book where I say no to 1,000 things. There's so many distractions. There's so many things that's pulling at us for our attention. And sometimes we have to just settle down to that one idea, that one concept. And when we settle down to that one idea and that one concept, and we focus on it, and we don't let loose until we accomplish it, that's when we see the changes. And we'll truly see that we are creators in the fact that we had ideas and concepts, and they were birthed into reality.
Right. Right.
When you look at anything, it was an idea first. When you look at cars and buildings, it was an idea. It was something that it was in someone's mind. They put it on paper, and it became reality. And we have to do the same thing with our goals and what we want to accomplish. We have to write it down, and we have to put it on paper, because if we don't put it on paper, it's just a wish.
Right.
Yes. So that's great. So you say you're working on bringing authors together. People want to be authors, people who are authors, and I know you mentioned speaking. So do you do any speaking now?
I'm not doing any now, but I so want to. Like, if I could have people invested me, so all I had to do was write and go speak, I'd be the happiest person on the planet. I would be the happiest person. If that's all I could do all day, every day, is just travel and speak and write, I would be absolutely, absolutely, absolutely just perfect. It would be the perfect world. So I'm not speaking, haven't had any speaking opportunities as of yet, but sometimes, you have to start your own platform. And so that's part of the author symposium as well, is to begin to develop that and to have an opportunity to hopefully be able to do that more. So
yes. And also, if you haven't, definitely find a Toastmasters in your area, because Toastmasters, it's affordable, and it's the place where you can get that complete, brute, honest critique.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I actually know a few people and a few Toastmasters organizations. It's just been really difficult because of the schedule.
Right.
When they have their meetings and things like that. So just still trying to, work that out. Everything's a process.
Well, guess what? Yeah. Guess what? If you can't find one, start one. Just give them a call and say, hey, my schedule is dictating this and that. And what do I need to do to start my own chapter? Because I got this specific time that's perfect for me, once a month or however many times a month you want to do it. And hey, get it going, because you're already a motivator. You already have a story to tell. So definitely, yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, just like I said, everything is a process. Everything comes in stages. I know where I want to be, and so I'm just chipping away, climbing, chipping away to get to where I want to be. So I believe that things will turn out the way that I've seen them or envisioned them. You know, like you said, the important thing is whatever that dream or that idea is to write it down. Exactly. Like you said, if you don't, it's nothing but a wish.
Exactly.
And so I'm not trying to wish. I'm trying to make it happen.
Exactly. So you want to be on the doing and winning team, right?
Right. Exactly.
So also for I know she had the series of books, and so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question: What's the one or two things that you want to share right now for the person who's listening in, who's considering writing a book, or thought about it? What would be the one thing you would share with them right now to help them, give them a little push, a little extra motivation? What would you tell them right now?
The first thing I would tell you is just write. Don't worry if it sounds right. Don't worry if you got the paragraphs in the right place. Don't worry if it's in chronological order. None of that. Just start writing. That's what I had to do. When I finally said, okay, I'm going to write, I just started writing. I didn't think about a title. I didn't even think about the topic. It wasn't until after the writing that I realized what I was writing about.
Okay.
You hear what I'm saying? So I didn't worry about any of that. I just started writing. And believe you me, when I went back and read it, there was parts over in chapter 4 that I was like, oh, that should be over here in chapter 1. You know, write it first. Exactly. Write it first, then fix it later. Don't try to fix it before you write it, because you'll never get it written. Just take out a pen and a piece of paper, take out a napkin. I used to write in restaurants on napkins and bring them home and type it into my computer, whatever. Just write. That is the biggest advice that I could give somebody that wants to be a writer or is even thinking about it. You will be surprised at what comes out of you when you just let it naturally flow. Just let it flow.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, Erica, what I want you to do now, if you can just share how everyone could get in contact with you, to reach out to you, where to get your book from, how to get in contact with you about the author symposium, and definitely go ahead and share that.
Okay. Again, the best way to reach me is through my ARICA books email, which again is ARICA, ARIQUI, books with an S at gmail.com. That is the best way to communicate with me with my job and things like that. I can't always get to my phone, but I can always take a moment and answer some emails and things like that. I also have a page on Facebook. If you want to friend me on Facebook, you can friend me under author ARICA QUINN on Facebook, or author ARICA on Twitter. And my handle on Twitter is at author ARQUI. So you can reach me. You can reach me that way. Again, my books, you can find them in Kindle. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million, Google Books. I believe it's on Goodreads. So those are the areas where you can find me and how you can get in touch with me. And I just want to give a shout out. I see my friend Trey has joined us, and I want to say hi.
He's coming on in. War Trey.
looks like he's still trying to connect with us.
Maybe you need to refresh, Devortre.
Can you hear me?
Let's see. It's
Yes,
doing something.
hear you.
There he is.
No, you don't have any lighting. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Hey, listen, Erica, I just want to say great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Michael as well. Great job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, there will be no lighting.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, because I'm not too equipped and too tech savvy with this. What is it called? Skype? Is this?
No, this is Blab.
Oh, Blab. Yeah. Yeah, there'll be no lighting until
so you can put this. You put this into your comedy routine, okay?
Yeah. I just wanted to call in and say congratulations and thank you.
We appreciate you too. As she's, I'm not sure how long you've been listening, but she definitely spoke on you being one of the motivating factors to help push her along. So definitely, man, we appreciate you, man. You definitely inspirational, motivating factor in my life too. So and we appreciate you, brother. We need more people like you. That's gonna teamwork makes the dream work, and really working together so everyone could succeed as one. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, continue the great work, Erica. As you know, I love your book. Michael, I supported your book as well. I love your book and the work that you guys are doing. And I think this is a great format. I think what you're doing today is really a great format and will set a precedent for others to follow. So continue the great work. Love you, Erica.
Love you too.
Support you, my brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
You got it. Anytime. And thanks a lot. I appreciate the shout outs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Love it.
Okay.
I'm trying to sign out.
I get you.
Okay.
That's the one thing about Blab. If someone doesn't know how to get out, you can help them on out. So, but everyone, this has been a great show. Just really getting some insight into author ARICA Quinn's life on just the time it took for her to get herself where she needed to be mentally and spiritually ready to write the book, and for her to find out the person who published her book was right up underneath her thumb the whole time. That's how God works, you know, under her thumb the whole time. And so definitely, if you haven't read my book yet, you have got to get it. I offer it on hard copy and ebook now at michaelmusenow.com. You can reach me on Facebook at Michael Muse, and you can email me at michaelmusenow@gmail.com. Pick up these books. This is fire from the pen because this is my pain, my story, and for author ARICA Quinn is I'm not gonna say her pain, but it's definitely her story and her journey. And we just want to thank you so much for listening to the Michael Muse Show. And everyone, you have a great day. See you tomorrow. See you next week, Tuesday at 9 p.m. You have a great day. Bye-bye.